No, actually, just excited to be here. It's great to be back. I didn't see when Karen asked. How many people were here last year? Almost everybody? Okay, next comedian. You know what? Wow. No, I'm excited, but it's kind of tough being a comedian because I'm Middle Eastern. On my mother's side, she's Lebanese, and so I have this whole Middle Eastern side of my family, and it's really hard to go to a traditional Middle Eastern family and tell them that you want to tell jokes for a living. Yeah, and I have this great uncle who is sort of the godfather of the family, and he has to approve everything. And I was really nervous telling him the first time that, I'm going to try to do this, and I just kind of need your approval, your sign off on it. And was shocked because he said, "Man, actually, I think that's the perfect career for a Middle Easterner." I said, "Really?" I said, "Why is that, Uncle Joe?" And he said, "Well, because if you do really well, you're killing them. And if you're terrible, you bomb. So works out pretty good, for being a Middle Easterner." I know when I walked up too, everybody was thinking the same thing as you saw me, some of you for the first time, you thought, that guy is really short. I know this because you're a really smart crowd, and you know that if you line up two guys and they're of different heights, you know that the difference in weight would be about 10 pounds per inch. So really, I'm not overweight. I'm actually just too short. I should be about 8'11". That's actually the truth, and so I'm really just too short. And besides, let's be honest when we think about it. Break the word down. Someone's overweight. It's really a misnomer, because when you say you're over something, that's like saying you're done with it. I'm over that relationship. I'm over that job. I'm over that church. I'm really not overweight. I'm actually kind of over skinny. That's really the reality. I'm fully engaged with weight. I don't overeat. I kind of overdiet. That's my problem. Just want to set the record straight. So just short. I just have to admit, really, when it comes to the weight issue, that I could lose a few pounds, but it's just hard. It's hard to diet. I've tried it. It's terrible. It's kind of like trying to lose weight is a little bit like trying to ditch your younger brother. Do you remember that? It doesn't matter how well you do it. He always finds his way back. It's always tough. And besides, I've tried diets. I tried the cereal diet. Have you seen the cereal diet? Anybody seen that? Apparently you eat like 2 bowls of a certain brand of cereal a day, and in like a month you lose 7 pounds. And it's clear that I have to lose a lot more than that. I was eating 22 bowls a day. I'm here to tell you, Dave, that's false advertising. I didn't lose a pound. Awesome, nothing. You just have to admit you're addicted. Sometimes you just have to come to a place where you say, "I'm addicted." And I am addicted to fast food. I am. I don't know if anybody else is. If you are, we can get together afterwards and go out. But I found this out because I started to use fast food slogans in my everyday conversations. That's when you know you're addicted. I get an argument and I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, "You don't know jack." If I start to lose and I want to get out, then fine, have it your way. In fact, it got so bad that even in my prayer life I started to use it. The other day I was praying and I said, "Lord, please help all of the hungry, starving children all around the world. And in Jesus' name, that's what a hamburger is all about." It was rough, man. And recently, because of this addiction, I tried to break it. And so I thought, I'm going to go an entire week without eating any fast food. And I did okay. First day or two, it was actually not too bad. By about day 3, the withdrawal started to set in, and so I started to get like a twitch. I don't know if you've ever seen this, when you're just twitching for no reason. And then by day 4, I was starting to get paranoid. What? Just out of nowhere, and just being fearful. And by day 5, I had totally blacked out. I kid you not. I woke up in a 7-Eleven somewhere in town, face down in a pool of my own nacho cheese. It was terrible. My family came to get me, and I think they're planning an intervention. I'm in there. I hope it's at In-N-Out, but that's what we're going to do. I'm kind of waiting, actually looking forward to it. Intervene. I'll have a double. Some of the things though that when you're big is tough is, skinny people who think they're fat. Do you know people like this? Man, I can't stand it. Lights are kind of bright. I can't really see where I point something out. But You know, these people, I mean, they're skinny and they got no weight problem. You know, they eat like a Dorito and I don't want to eat too much. I'm like, you know, I'm really feeling it. Please, shut up. Really. You have no idea what it's like. I don't know when I crossed the line, but there is a point when you cross the line and then you can say, you know, I'm overweight, I'm big, I'm fat, whatever you want to say. I mean, there's a point. But if you're not at that point yet, all right? Some examples. If you use gravy as a condiment, you might have crossed the line. if you're the employee of the month at your local buffet, and you don't work there, you've crossed. If your BFF is the pizza delivery guy, you've probably crossed the line. I know some of you over like 25, that means best friends forever. And if it's hot everywhere you go, and you have to use the bathroom every hour on the hour, oh wait, no, that might be menopause. But anyway, it might be, it's somewhere in there. It's somewhere in there. You know, just stop calling yourself fat when you're skinny. It doesn't really work. Here's another thing. When non-big people try to give you diet advice, man, that's like the worst. I had a friend once who came up to me and said, you know, all you have to do is buy these pills that I'm selling. I thought, well, what? He was starting a business and he was selling these weight loss pills. I thought, wow, you know, I'm open to that, you know, because he said it's really super easy. Just take the pill, you lose weight. And I'm thinking, really? It's a lot of work to take a pill, but I'm interested. I'm going to explain this to you because it might be a little more than I'm trying to invest in this process. But he says, yeah, you just take the pill. I said, is there anything else I have to do? You know, because I'm not really into it. And he says, well, yeah, you can only eat 1,000 calories a day. The average male diet is 2,500 calories a day. I don't know if you know this. So if I'm eating only 1,000 calories a day, what does the pill do, right? Does it at least come with a Pez dispenser? I mean, why do I need to pay you $35 a month? I'm only going to eat 1,000 calories a day. I wake up and I've already eaten 1,000 calories. That's ridiculous. Another thing is when people come to me and you know, they tell me the whole thing about vegetables. You know, really what you need to do is you just need to eat more vegetables. In fact, I had some people, some of them are like vegetarians, I think that's what they call them. And they you know, these people who don't eat meat, and one came to me recently and said, you really, that's God's plan for eating. That you really shouldn't even be eating any meat. It should be all vegetables. And I thought, really? Have you ever read the Bible? God loves meat. And she said, no, it's like that all throughout the Bible. That was God's original plan. Really? Do you know in the Old Testament, just a quick survey, that there were 5 high kind of offering sacrifices that people had to give? And do you know 4 out of the 5 involved meat? And this is what happened. You would come and there was an altar built and they would light it on fire and they would place meat on it. That's a barbecue, all right? Now this is the central, this is the most important part of the system of the Old Testament. So what about the other one? Well, the other one was a grain offering because, you know, you need side dishes at any good barbecue. And one of them, God was the only one who ate, so clearly he's okay with it. And then there's even one where you share. You sit down at like a picnic table with God and you have a barbecue. It's awesome. And they were like, well, yeah, but that's the Old Testament with Israel. What about in the Old Testament before Israel? And I thought, well, yeah, when Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden, the Bible says they had skins on. Those weren't potato skins. Those were... Something had to be sacrificed for this, right? And well, what happened to the meat? Well, God wasn't ready to share yet, so it was all his. But we know that they figured it out because Cain and Abel come along, right? And here's what happens, which I'm just amazed by. Cain brings an offering, really a salad bar, and God's not really excited about it. Abel brings meat, and God's like, yes, that's what I want. Cain gets so upset, he kills his brother, so clearly vegetarians are lunatics. That's what and then, here's the other thing. When God wanted to show off in the Bible, there was this like battle between, you know, some false prophets and God, and it was like a double barbecue. And so, even when God wanted to show off, he's like, throw some meat on an altar, let's light it up, and I'll come down and consume it. What a great plan, right? And then she's like, oh yeah, but what about Jesus? What about Jesus? I said, well, when Peter messed up and Jesus went to resolve things, he was on the beach, and what was he doing? He was barbecuing fish. So Jesus, you like fish tacos? That's awesome. She said, okay, but in the Garden of Eden, they didn't do that. They were just, I said, oh, really? Well, first of all, in the Garden of Eden, the thing that messed it all up was the serpent. And what kind of tree did he come from? A fruit tree. That had nothing to do with it. So again, there go those crazy vegetarians. It might be argued that vegetarians are demonically possessed. Get behind me, Satan. I want a steak. And if you need any other evidence, when God wanted to create a partner for Adam, he made Eve, and what did he make Eve out of? Ribs. That's right. That's right. So I say to all vegetarians, repent and pull on a bib and step up to the table of God and eat some meat. Stop giving me diet advice. You know, these are the same people that don't read the Bible that, like to, when things get rough and they want to win some points with God and they really want to say some bad words, but they can't, so they do this fake cussing thing. Have you seen this? Yeah, I ran into a person the other day, recently, and I really love when people ask me what I do, because one of the things that I get to do besides tell jokes is I get to pastor, and I really like being a pastor, but just saying you're a pastor is kind of boring, and so I've kind of come up with a more fun way of describing it, and recently somebody came and said, what do you do? And I looked at them. This is after we were on a golf course, and they'd been drinking, and they'd been cussing and all kinds of stuff. And I said, oh, I'm glad you asked. I am actually a servant of the holy living God who will judge all people for all of eternity. It's awesome. It doesn't fit well on a business card, but it's fun to say. And so she looked at me, and she just said, like, she dropped her eyes. She said, oh, sugar. I said, did you just say sugar? And she said, yeah. I said, why did you say sugar? Well, I didn't want you to know what was really in my head. I said, oh, it's okay, the fake cussing thing. See, you've heard words like this, right? I hear people all the time, dadgummit. Dadgummit. I'm thinking, unless your toothless father's in an eating contest and you're cheering for him, I don't think this really fits. I really don't. I just really don't. I heard somebody recently use the word Dickens. I said, what's that? It's cold as a Dickens. I ran like a Dickens. What does that mean? I looked it up. It actually is it's like a euphemism for hell. And so I'm thinking, really? Which really confused me, because when they say it's cold as a Dickens, how does that work? But apparently they're from Arizona. But and don't you hate, by the way, when it's super hot like it's been? Have you guys been getting the heat up? I know you guys live here, which is where you live when you can't move closer to La Jolla. I get that. But, it's okay. I'm from San Bernardino. That's where you live when you get out of prison. So it's okay. That's right. And so it's been like 110, 112 where I live, and it's so hot. But people always want to make you feel better, so that they don't just, it's hot. They say it's hot, but it's what kind of heat? Dry. That's right. Does that make anybody feel any better? That doesn't make me feel better. That's like looking at somebody going, you're really extremely unattractive, but at least your teeth are straight. It's not going to make anybody feel any better. I'm so glad you told me. And so these fake cuss words, they just don't work. Dadgummit, Dickens, gosh, Jiminy Christmas. That's always a great one. So you know what? I've decided as a pastor that I should come up with like a fake cuss gospel. So when people start doing this and they think they're winning points with God, I just want to look at them and say, if you think there's any way that you're going to avoid the Lake of Dickens, or any other dadgum way than coming to faith in gosh through Jiminy Christmas, you're full of sugar. That's what I like to tell. There's only one reason I haven't made that public yet, and that's because I've got a wife, and I've been married now just going on 10 years. Yeah, I know, it's awesome. Yeah. Some of you are happy that it's been 10 years, and some of you are like, how did that guy get a wife? And I understand, and you'll feel better or worse when you know that my wife is like 3 degrees above me in the looks category. We're one of these couples where people look at us and think, how did she go to him? How did he end up with her, right? You guys know couples like this. Feel free to point around the room, because I know there's some couples like that. And this is what I tell everybody when they want to know, how did you get, it's really quite simple. And if you're single, if you're looking for somebody, if you like to go, if you just want to trade up, whatever, here's how you do this. I know, I'm sorry, we're in the church. Anyway, here's how you do this. You have to have a great personality. You have to know how to make them laugh and make them feel safe. And I took an online course. It was called The Art of Hypnotism. That's how it worked for me. I know you can laugh, but to this day, when the bell rings, my wife goes and makes me a sandwich. That's right. And my wife and I, not just in looks, but in every way, we're just total opposites. She's really buff and likes to work out. I'm a little more buffet. I like to eat out. So we're totally opposite. And in our 10 years of marriage, we get the same question many married couples get, and that is, do you have any kids? And I don't know if you get this question, if you ask this question. And our answer is, no, we don't. And I'll tell you two reasons. One is, we don't want any. That's number one. But they're God's little blessings. Yeah, so are sleep and sanity. But number two is, the other day I was in my office and I was, we have a mouse problem in our office, and so we have these little traps, but we don't want to be cruel and inhumane, so we don't have the ones that slam down that would just kill them right away. No, we got to get these ones that are like these sticky pads that you pull the sheet, so it can't, right, yeah, exactly, oh yeah. It's not a whole story. Here's the other day I'm sitting there and I realized that I've stepped on one of these little things, the pad, and so it's stuck to my shoe, and I realize there's something stuck to my shoe, and I look down and I see one of these little mousetrap things, and so I'm trying to scrape it against the desk to get it off, and all of a sudden I see this little nose pop out and there's whiskers on it. And it occurs to me that there's a mouse stuck to the pad, which is now stuck to my shoe. So I went nuts, all right? I started jumping around and dancing and trying, because I thought if I kick hard enough, this thing will fly off. I'm here to tell you, those things work, because it's stuck right on my shoe. And then I'm trying to outrun it. There's nothing crazier than watching some guy in his office. Oh! The mouse thinks he's at Disneyland, right? Oh, e-ticket. So now I got to get this thing off. And so I finally, I'm able to reach and just wedge this thing off, but the mouse is still there. So I go and run and get some help, and they tell me this. They go, well, you got to kill it. You got to kill the mouse. But how do you do that? Well, you can take it and drown it, or you can take a shovel and just whack it on the head. I'm like, I don't want to do either, okay? I don't even want to touch the thing. The mouse may catch up, and by this time now the mouse is trying to move, and so it's so kind of sad to watch him sometimes get his hand released and then come right back down. And now he's all twisted around. I think, oh, great. So I'm freaked out. The mouse is freaked out, right? Because I see it, because the mouse had little droppings, and so I know it's freaked out. I'm thinking, if only he could see my droppings. And so I have a brainstorm, and I get some warm water, and I pour it, and it's great because the water releases the mouse, and he runs off and runs away. Aww. That's really cool. Yeah, and that's why we don't have children. You don't get it? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, let me add this. Because no matter how cute babies are when they're born, they eventually become teenagers. And having teenagers live with you is like having an infestation of mice. Put this together, all right? They both put holes in your wall. They eat all your food. They both think they're smarter than you. They both leave their droppings in the corners. And they both carry around various types of illness and disease. So we don't have any kids. But we have to tell people, we can't just say you don't have any kids because that doesn't work and they think you're losers. And, so I just add the word yet. So we don't have any kids yet. That's like passing go and collecting $200. If I just say I don't have any kids, you're just hoarding everything for yourself. You're not really being a Christian. God told you to procreate. If I say not yet, oh, well, then you're really wise to plan for parenthood. That's really good. I think, yeah, 20 years. But anyway, and so we don't have any kids. And here's another thing. In 10 years of marriage, here's what I've learned. I'll close with this. Is my wife is tougher than me. I kid you not. She is the strongest, toughest woman I know. Just recently, I was out in our yard, and I was walking our dog, and I was waiting for her to grant the lawn a little blessing, which is what dogs do at night. And I'm trying to help me. Please, Lord, let the dog bless the lawn. But anyway, I hear the sprinklers go on. I'm thinking, well, that's not good because the sprinklers don't normally come on at this time of night. And then I realized those aren't sprinklers. That's a snake, and it's not just a snake, it's a rattlesnake. And my dog's leaning right over it, you know? And I thought, that's great. So I grab the dog and I rush inside and I tell my wife, honey, there's a snake in the grass. It's a rattlesnake. And I'm not kidding you. It's like the Bourne Identity, the Bourne Legacy, the Bourne 15 movies. I don't care what it is. Her eyes roll back and it was like she had another life. I'm thinking, what is going on? And she runs. She like clicks into automatic pilot mode and runs into the garage. And things start banging around. And she shows up with this mop that has the head off of it. And it's just a stick with an upside down metal triangle. And I'm thinking, what are you going to do with that? She's like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to kill the mouse. I'm like, you can't go out. I mean, the mouse. I'm going to go out and kill a snake. Anyway, so I said, you can't go out and kill a snake? And she's like, yes, I can. And she throws me the flashlight. Come on, sissy boy, you can help me. 8 years of marriage, I don't think that's a very nice thing to say. I'm a man. My mom told me. I don't know what you're talking. I go out there and I'm freaking out, man. I'm holding that light, but I'm shaking my hand like this. And she's, do you work at a disco? Just hold it still. And I zoom in on the snake, and we realize why the snake didn't bite our dog is because right in the middle of its mouth was a teenager. Well, it was a mouse, but they're sort of the same. We've been over this. So I realized it's in mid-eat. That's why it didn't do anything to our dog. And so I said, well, now what, Rambo? What are you going to do? And she said, well, I'm going to drop this mop handle down on its neck and slice its head off. I said, well, what happens if you don't crush it at first? The neck doesn't come and what then? And she said, oh, that's a good point. She reaches into her pocket and she pulls out what I can only describe as half machete, half switchblade. I mean, this thing opens up like this. I'm not kidding. I said, where in the world did you get that? She said, I got it from my dad. I said, when did he give that to you? When I started dating you. So like, number two, you know, I don't even know this woman anymore. I'm looking at her like, who are you, right? And then she says, okay, so hold the light still. And I said, so what? You're going to drop it? And then what? I said, I'm going to cut the head off. And then you're going to just what? Drink its blood, Rambo? I mean, she said, just hold the light still. So she stands over this thing. I'm not kidding you. With 3 quick breaths. She brings the rain down. I mean, just drops it down on the neck. And the snake just folds up like this. And the back of the body's wiggling. And the head just sort of, and the mouth opens up. And the mouse goes out, does a tip of the hat, and leaves. Great. I think it was the same mouse, by the way. Anyway, she reaches down with the knife and begins to slice the head of the snake off. I know. And it's like David and Goliath. She holds up the body of the snake. And she turns to the neighborhood like Gladiator. Are you not entertained? And I'm standing there with this look on my face. And she whips around and she's like, what? And I said, honey, you are scaring the dickens out of me. And I've never loved you more. Hey guys, that's my time. Thank you very much.